Hey guys, today I'm going to teach you on what to look for on how to select a top home builder. There's not that much to it, but there's important details you need to look for. But for me, number one, always have a porta potty on the job site. You'll make a lot of friends with that. So let's get into it. All right off the bat, number one, experience. You need to find somebody that knows their job, that's been in the business a while and can help you design and build a home that's quality. And here's how you can do your homework to find that builder. One, just use social media. It's out there. There's people that are giving reports. There's plenty of war stories of builders that have started homes that didn't finish, or the homeowner got mad at him for whatever reason. You do not want those guys. And I always tell my homeowners, go out, do your homework, just go around a job site, talk to subcontractors. They're like the nurses in the industry that know what doctor has been messing up. Just because you're a home builder doesn't always mean you know that you're the perfect guy for that job. So that's an analogy I use a lot because I tend to build a lot of homes for doctors. If you go out and ask the subcontractors who you would use to build your house, kind of like asking the nurse, who would you have operate on your son or daughter? They're going to tell you the number one doctor. The subcontractors are going to tell you who are the number one builders. So ask these guys, because a lot of these subs are working with builders. The builders are making them do subpar work because they want to keep the costs down, which later on becomes your problem later. So ask the subs, and that will put you light years ahead of anybody else. Another key point on the experience part is you want somebody that will stick with you through thick or thin. There's going to be issues during construction, and that's all I do is manage problems. You want somebody that will, so I use the word, I don't use problems, I call them situations. So you have to be able to work together, have an expectation so that you guys can communicate and be willing to work through it. So when things get tough, nobody pulls up stakes and leaves the job. Then that becomes a problem, not a situation. All right, number two is communication. I think that is right up there with experience, because if you're hiring a builder and you do not communicate well with each other, one is just personality. That's one on the communication side. Make sure you're both on the same page, that you can understand each other. But then you have to ask, how are we going to be communicating? I mean, there's phones, there's emails, there's text. I've done some jobs where the homeowner didn't email. I was emailing them and I couldn't figure out why they're not getting back to me. So I always use the phone, and I want to be available to answer your questions. Now, we're in a world where everybody wants answers like right now. So that's part of the expectations. You know, when you're hiring a builder, he's working on several jobs, but it's important to make you feel like you're the only one. But you have to be conscious that he cannot make a living building one house at a time. So if that's the case, you're probably getting a subpar home, or you might have got a guy that's retired that doesn't care. But anyway, beyond that, if you have questions and concerns, maybe up front have an understanding saying, can we have a weekly meeting? I personally think that's too much. Those are important in the beginning so that we get the plan figured out. Typically, on the communication side is when the house is being built, there's financial questions that you're going to have when you do loan draws. I have a gal in the office, Bronwyn, as you know, she takes care of all that. And I have a project manager, Mark, which you haven't seen much of. He is out running around handling the day-to-day details. Me as the builder, if you will, I'm the big picture guy. I've got my arms wrapped around all of that stuff, but I like to be involved. A lot of builders you see them up front and then you don't ever see them again. You deal with their staff. And if that's the builder you're choosing, make sure you meet with the staff and you communicate well with them, because that's going to be your home builder. So the expectation is, are you planning on seeing this builder on the job site every day, which is probably highly unlikely? But I like to check my jobs at least weekly and sometimes more. But I do have meetings on the communication side at critical stages, kind of during framing. As a house is going up, there's going to be questions and concerns, and maybe there's opportunity where you can change the wall. Does your builder have that skill set? Does he not? Is he good at reading blueprints? That sounds crazy, but if you're not good at reading them, you might need to have some 3D drawings or have a meeting to walk through and explain what it is you're getting. Job site meetings is a form of communications face-to-face, which is the best. And every time I have a situation that gets troubled, I think it's important, instead of sending text back and forth, when you get into this, will the builder meet with you? And then a lot gets solved in a hurry when you meet face to face. Okay, so then you have to ask yourself, how do I know this builder is good at communicating? Because you could get a lot of lip service, if you will, in the beginning because they want your work. What I tell people, and I tell them to do this with me, to be fair when they're shopping me as a home builder, is ask the home builder to give you 3 or 4 references. Now, here's how a builder will trick you, or anybody. I say, ask them for a client that they just started working for, ask them for someone who is currently under construction, ask for a guy that just moved in, and maybe somebody that's lived in their house 2 or 3 years, because the guy you're working with, you'll know right away how the communication's going on the design part. If the construction's in the middle, that second guy, is the builder doing the meetings that he's promised? Has he been showing up on the job site? What would they do different? Ask that question. 3 is, if they just moved in, what kind of a punch list did they have? Remember the punch list? You try to do it where there's hardly anything on that punch list, because if there is a 15, 20 items, that means you're moving into a home that's not completed. And if a builder thinks that's okay, that is not okay. So not only do you and the builder have to communicate back and forth, but what's just as important is that when you meet with the builder, he now has to communicate your ideas and interpret the plan and your wishes to all the subs on the job site. That's very critical. And here's a good example what happens if they don't communicate well, because there's a lot of channels it has to go through. Remember in school when you'd whisper in a kid's ear and it'd go around? I think they call that telephone. At the end, whatever you started with never ended up at the end. That happens on job sites. When I am meeting with the homeowner, they tell me something, then I tell the boss of the crews, that boss tells the lead guy on the job site, he then tells the workers. So it's a lot of it can get lost in translation. So it's important, once again, that the builder's on site, checks it regularly, the project manager, everybody kind of knows what's going on. What you're communicating gets transferred into your home. And then the last one, more importantly, is should be a warranty on the house. Is he done with the house when you move in? Means done, like you'll never see him again? Or does he come back like we do in 30 days, make sure the house, everything you've moved in, do we need to touch up the walls from the movers? And then go through the seasons, all 4 seasons. So in 1 year, we'll come back, walk through the house and see what needs to be addressed. The warranty is part of that, which we'll get into that next, is does that builder have one? My job as a builder is picking the experts at their job. Right now you see the guys are hanging drywall. That's all these guys do is hang drywall. And I've used the same crews over and over again, because once the drywall's hung, doesn't mean their job's done. They have the tapers that come back in, then we paint the walls. We gotta make sure they come back and touch those up. But also my concrete guy, all he does is pour concrete. My trimmer, all he does is trim. You'll never see him painting a house. So we have very specific jobs to do, and every job we hire experts. So in that case, you're gonna sometimes have to wait for the good guys. If they're not busy in this economy, there's something wrong. So you have to be patient. Remember, quality takes time. So a guy told me a while back, and you guys may have heard this, there's 3 things in construction. It's either fast, there's quality, or cheap. You get 2 of those things. So if it's fast and cheap, you're not gonna get any quality. So if you want quality and you want it done fast, it's not gonna be cheap. So you have to pick your poison, what you want. Having reasonable expectations up front is very important, because things that are worthwhile take time. Like in this situation, this beam ceiling took several months to lay out and to get, but I think in the end, it was well worth the wait. All right, on the warranty side, I think it's important to have a 30-day break-in period where the builder comes back and walks through the house with you and makes sure everything's right, because nothing's worse is having a doorknob not working right or some paint. That's easy fixes. We want you to be happy. And then a 1 year, let you live in the house a full cycle through all the seasons to come back and fix everything. Typically it's drywall, paint, but if there's bigger issues in that, what I see builders do, which is a problem, and you do want to stay away from this, is when the builder says to handle the warranty, he sends you a list of all the guys that worked on your house, and he expects you to call those guys. If you got a builder that's in business a long time, such as me, we do not want you calling those subcontractors. The subs don't want to hear from you. They would rather hear from the builder. I have much more weight when I call a sub to come back, because he's working on other jobs for me, and that forces him to come back and fix what he did earlier. If you get a builder that uses various subcontractors, there is no motivation for those that come back. And typically those builders that beat up on subs are going to be out of business. And then where's your warranty there? Now it's all your responsibility, and you paid for that, and now it's your problem. Okay, we just about finished up filming, and I realized there's three types of home builders that I wanted to point out to you guys. There's the production builder, the semi-custom, and then the true custom builders, which I am. So to explain the differences, the production builder is your best probably value. Typically what they have is like a model home. You go in and you make minute changes. They don't like a lot of changes because they're all about fast and production. Typically these are starter homes and they're more economical. For what you get in value, you limit yourself on choices. So you get to pick colors, but that's about it. If you want to move a window, change your kitchen layout, maybe add a bathroom, that is going to be very costly. They do not like that because it does not fit in the production line. So the second one is a semi-custom, which is a combination of what I do and that production builder. Most likely it'll be a model home where you'll come in and you'll make a lot of changes, maybe selections with cabinets. You might be able to add a bathroom or two. Maybe it's something that they already have pre-designed, but you do not have full control of what your house is going to look like. You better like what the model home plan looks like, because that is where the builder kind of makes his money, because he's already pre-priced the house out. And if you make changes, that's going to set you up for change orders, which typically costs a lot more than what it should. Now, if you want to be a true custom home builder, these are typically higher end homes because they cost a little bit more money, only because you're putting more in them. They don't charge any more to build. We allow you to spend more money, such as you get to pick all your appliances out. If you want to add 3 ovens and 2 laundry rooms and whatever, all that takes place in the design stage. So we're a true custom is we're designing the home with all your needs and wishes. And you need to have a builder that understands what things cost, because as you're designing and making the home bigger, you got to remember your budget is going up at the same time. So make sure you're aware of that. Sometimes builders don't tell you you are over designing your house. And some rooms can get to be too big. That's another thing I do, is when you're looking at a blueprint, it's hard to get a sense of scale. So I like to take people out and go into rooms, say, if you want a room that's 20 by 20, let's go stand in one and show you that maybe that room would be just as good at 18 by 18, and you save that square footage, which is very expensive. It's hard to get a cost per square foot with a true custom home because it's never been built before. Whereas you go to the production builder, they know exactly what their cost per square foot is. When you are trying to play that cost per square foot game with a custom home builder, it doesn't work, because we're putting a lot more windows in, we're putting better materials, we're using upgraded cabinets and appliances, maybe higher quality finish and flooring. So all those quality finishes add to the cost of the square foot. So the point being is, when you're picking a builder, make sure that builder fits your needs. And when you do a custom home, make sure the communication is open, because there is a lot of things going on and you got to make sure that you and your builder get along great. So do your homework and you will have a wonderful experience. Okay, now that you guys have done your research, we've talked about everything you need to do to select a successful home builder. Now you need to have faith in the process. And what I mean by that is, now that you've started to design the house, things are going forward, you have a relationship going as we continue to build, have faith in your builder that he has your best interest at heart. So let him do his job. If you have questions and concerns, do not go to the job site and talk to the subcontractors. That's very confusing and problematic. It doesn't create a situation, it creates a big problem. So talk to your home builder, your project manager. There has to be a chain of command going from the homeowner to the builder, builder to the subcontractors. That cannot be interrupted. And when it has, every single time, it's been nothing but a disaster. So trust what you have in place. Allow everything to unfold. Working with the designers, it will be an extremely pleasant process. When we work that way, our homeowners become so satisfied. They're so excited about moving in their home, but believe it or not, they're kind of sad that the building process is over, and that means it's been successful. So I hope you can learn from what I've done over the last 35 years working with clients, and make sure you're respectful to each other. Keep the communication lines open. When people stop talking, that's when it becomes a problem. So don't be afraid to pick up your phone, talk to your builder, or have a meeting. And that works for both sides. So with that, you will have a home that you will enjoy and love for years, or a remodel, whatever it is, it will be successful. You will be happy with the end results, and most likely you will probably have a friend as a home builder, and me as a home builder will have a friend as a new homeowner. So I hope this helps you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next job site.